Enter Talk Radio, you're in to all things music.
Welcome to Intersect Radio, where music, faith, and life converge. With your host, Aaron the A-Train Smith.
Like the hole we dug before we put my dog in. I'm empty love like my grandfather's eyes. In those 7 months they kept him alive. And you don't seem to mind.
Welcome to Intersect Radio, friends. It's another Tuesday. Here we are down in the catacombs in East Nashville. Today I have a... You like that, huh? Okay. That beautiful voice belongs to one Emily Kohavi. And the overall beautiful sound you just heard at the beginning of the show is by my guest today, Wildeyes, Daniel Kohavi, Emily Kohavi, and Max Hoffman. Welcome, friends, to Intersect.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for having us.
I'm glad you guys, could be here today. We had set this up some time ago, so it's glad you reminded me of it, Daniel. Because I was just getting over 3 days at NAMM and coming down. I hadn't done a show in a while, so
how was it this year? We didn't make it this year.
Well, it was good. It all depends on what you went there for, Weren't there many dealers there? People start sending reps and not so much merchandise.
Oh, really? Oh, man, that sounds fun. Was it sensory overload as usual?
Was it what?
Sensory overload as usual?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. They had a lot of guitars there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have loved that.
Yeah, we're a guitar-heavy band for sure.
Yep, we're outnumbered.
Yes. Yeah, so maybe you would really enjoyed it. Not that I didn't. I did. I had some good talks. I did an interview. I was interviewed. It was great.
Cool.
But you guys were on the road.
We were. We've been on the road for about a month. We just got back.
Wow.
Actually.
How was that?
It's great. I love it. I could be on the road 364 days out of the year.
You could?
You get Christmas off or just one day off?
Christmas.
Okay,
You gotta be home for Christmas.
Nice.
Wow. Well, guys, if Emily wants to be on the road for 364, I think you should pack up the van and hit it.
Yeah, we might need to upgrade to a tour bus if we do that.
Yeah.
We just got our 15-passenger van right now.
Although the van was quite an upgrade for us. So
Yeah, we
feel like we're living in luxury.
We were in a Honda before the van, so.
Yeah, so what do you have now?
We have a Ford.
The
It's a big Ford E350 XLT.
Econoline.
Her name is Starship.
Super Duty. Yeah, her name's
Cool.
Starship.
When you look up van in the dictionary, it's the picture that's in there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Not white, it's blue. We got a little bit of class.
Hey,
Massive, big as it gets.
I was watching some of your roadside sessions.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. Whose idea was that?
Mine.
Okay.
I guess it's
So how'd you come up with that, Emily?
Go ahead.
Well, I just thought it would be a good idea. I thought it'd be cool. So
Yeah.
I said so.
A little background on campfire
Yeah.
sessions.
Campfire sessions came about. So roadside sessions came out of campfire sessions because we cannot take a campfire with us on the road. We can just take our bodies and a microphone. So that's why roadside session exists, because campfire sessions became such a thing where people were messaging us and saying how excited they were to tune in on Wednesdays at 7:30. So we're like, we can't stop. We have to figure out a way to continue while we're on the road. So that's why roadside sessions. But campfire sessions started out because the three of us, that's how we first started writing our music back in the early days, about 2 years ago. We'd send each other voice memos on our phones of bits and pieces of songs. And then when we were all done with work in the evening, we'd gather around a campfire with a beer or tea, if you're me. And we'd kind of put the pieces of songs together and kind of practice and just enjoy and kind of chill. And then we were just, being a small indie band, we're always trying to think of cool ways to, kind of set ourselves apart, do something a little bit different. And we thought that, inviting people to the campfire with us would be a thing. So we started doing that, and, people seem to enjoy it, and we enjoy it because it's.
But we started it not doing it consistently. We started
That's
it,
true.
We only did it a few times, and then we stopped doing it. And then a bunch of fans just
they just lost
yeah,
it.
they
The
really.
people demanded it. Like all 7 of them demanded it.
Yeah.
And so
There's more than 7 now, though.
no, it's grown. It's grown quite a bit actually. So
It's fun.
So,
There's not a lot. Go ahead.
And you do it on Tuesdays, you say?
Wednesday evenings at 7:30 Central Time.
And how do we see this? How do we take part in this?
It's on Facebook, Wildeyes, Wildeyes
Band,
Official.
WildeyesBand.official.
And we go live on Facebook, and you can actually, if you're on our page at 7:30, you can just basically click on it and watch it live. And they're all cataloged on our page as well. So you can see every live session we've ever done on there. So,
And I noticed you do covers.
Sometimes, most of the time, people have sent us songs that they would like to hear. So we've kind of indulged in some of those. We also release one single a month on Spotify. So we will do that on the Wednesday that we release. We'll do one of our original songs.
we figured in order for it to be sustainable, to do it every week, we'd have to do covers. And then we found that we actually really enjoyed doing our own arrangements of these old songs. And every once in a while we'll release what's like, just tell our fans what song we're going to do. And like this latest song we did was I Will Survive. And I think everyone was like, how is that going to work? So it's kind of fun.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, like making it our own. And usually people are surprised at what the end result is. But
yeah, I was listening to it. I was waiting for the.
yeah, we needed
never happened.
We needed you up there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great songs, and it's fun to learn them and play them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that's what we're.
It keeps us learning new music and keeps us excited about our instruments and playing together and all that too. So.
And it also kind of, it's a brain sharpener.
Yeah.
Because you typically, the last couple we've been learning the day of, so it's kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to like.
Kind of exciting.
Can you tell us?
Very scary.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what tomorrow's song is going to be?
Nope. We don't know
We
yet.
can't because we don't know yet.
Well, we talked about it. It's not like we haven't thought it through. We're just
We have
narrowing it down.
Tomorrow is an interesting day because tomorrow we are tracking with one of our producers. So we have been releasing music every 2 weeks. We release campfire sessions, and then the following 2 weeks we'll release an original single, and then the cycle starts over again.
Spotify.
So tomorrow it ended up being a rescheduled day for us to record campfire sessions, and it also falls on an actual campfire session day. So it's going to be kind of a crazy day, and it's the 4th of July. So.
So you're going to actually have a campfire in the backyard tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan.
At
That's
least
the
some
plan.
sparklers.
Maybe we'll set off some fireworks. That would be really more fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a song to go with fireworks while the fireworks are going off in the background?
I think only Katy Perry has one of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rehearsal.
Yeah, which we could.
So tell us, how did you guys get together? How did the band start?
You want to take this, Max?
Yeah, sure. So,
The true version,
like, how long? Like,
not the sugar version.
no,
Not the sugar bowl
there's a
version.
bunch of versions. So we're neighbors. I went over one day to ask for some butter.
Oh my goodness.
And they said, sure, I'll give you butter, but do you want to be in a band? I was like, well, do I get the butter? They said, yeah. So I agreed to it. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's not how.
Yeah.
No, but we are actually neighbors. We only live 3 doors down from each other. But we met each other and we started doing music together, like sync music for commercials or jingles and whatnot. And Daniel and Emily were already doing that. And I mean, I don't know how far back you guys want to go, but that's, for me, that's kind of how the band started,
That was the
because we started doing that, and, it was like, where'd my ukulele go? It's like ukulele and just like, just happy, like kind of just superficial music.
Everything's about the sunshine.
Yeah, like we were only allowed to use certain lyrics and stuff, and it was just very, I don't know, I think it just like creatively it wasn't very fulfilling, So we started writing real music together, slowly but surely. And Emily one day asked me to bring my resonator over and treat it like it was a dobro. She's like, "Hey, I wrote this song." Go ahead, Emily. Like, that.
Oh yeah, that's you said it well. I was like, you can just turn it into a dobro and come play dobro. And he doesn't play dobro, but I mean,
He didn't at the time. None of us did.
They both do now really well.
She's like, "I want you to play slide on this song. I wrote this song. I really want you to play slide on it." I was like, okay.
We actually have a voice memo of that very first practice.
It was on July 5th.
No way.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's we're
2 years, pretty much 2 years
literally
ago.
2 years old.
It's pretty terrifying to listen to. It's
Oh, it
astonishing.
sounds horrible.
It's astonishing that we saw what we had, like there was any vision.
We were so
in us.
excited about it too.
We were.
That's the funny part. Like you listen, like, oh, this sounds absolutely horrible. But at the time, we were so stoked
For
about
some
this
reason
new
we
sounds.
knew. Yeah, for some reason we knew there was something there, and so we all learned.
Felt good, I guess.
We all learned a bunch of new instruments: banjo, dobro. Emily learned guitar, and
Guitar's harder than you think.
when you play violin, you're
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's 2
the
extra
hardest
strings.
harder than you think.
Okay. There's 6 strings, and you only have 4 fingers, and you have
So that was kind of the genesis, and we started it, I think, for fun. I mean, like I said, we wrote songs around the campfire, and maybe Emily was had higher aspirations for it.
always.
But I think
Emily was busy on.
Yeah, Emily was on the road touring with other artists, and I think it just started happening. And really, the reason that it became a thing is because we wrote enough songs that we believed strongly enough in that we were like, okay, we have to actually become good at being a band because these songs deserve it. So,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So who are some of the other artists you worked with, Emily?
Let's see. I started off when I first moved to Nashville. My first gig was with Martina McBride. She went on a Christmas tour that year, so I played in a string quartet in her Christmas tour. And then every year since I've moved, I've been a part of CMA Awards and CMA Christmas, so that involves lots and lots of artists at one time that you get to play with. Those have been, my favorite was Chris Stapleton a couple years back. Can you help me with some?
well, you've toured with Trace Atkins as well.
I toured with Trace Atkins for 2 years and did his Christmas.
Casey Musgrave.
She's so much fun. Mr. David Crowder, I did a year and a half with him. And then
A lot of one-offs here.
John Legend. Eminem, most recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That.
How was working with Eminem? What did you have to dance?
No, but I mean, there's a lot of fire. His pyrotechnics are off the charts, and so it got pretty hot there. I was afraid that my hair was going to catch on fire, but it never did. And I don't know, it's fun. He's an icon. I remember those songs, going to junior high and like thinking, I'm not going to let them beat me up today. And I'd listen to it and I'd get all pumped up. It was really surreal.
So you actually got to play that violin part.
I got to play that.
That was mid tour actually.
Yes.
Middle of our tour. Yeah.
We had to reschedule a show to make room for the Eminem show.
That
but
was Orlando.
she had one chance, one opportunity.
I took it.
She captured it. She didn't let it slip.
Where was the show?
It was Bonnaroo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He headlined for Bonnaroo. It was great. It was a great crowd, and the musicians were just incredible. They were probably some of the best I've ever gotten to play with. And
yeah, it was a good group.
He's one of the most talented artists out there, so that was
He's
crazy.
an undisputed rapper.
Yes.
I looked up all these things about him and all these other rappers saying, "Oh, I don't want to get in his groove. I don't want to mess with him because he'll tear me down because he's the best."
He's really good.
all these other massive rappers say that.
Yeah.
Like usually it's talk smack about each other or whatever, but
And he's been sober for 10 years. So he was not the the angry, stressed out Eminem that you think of. He was just very kind of chill, laid back, and kind and very normal. He's a dad, and I mean, I didn't get to really sit down and have a conversation with him, but from the little that I got that one night, he was fine. Seems like life is going fine for him now.
Well, I was reading your bio here, and it says that you have a non-sexy woodshed 1950s American work ethic.
That's right.
Since neither one of you were born in 1950s, what does that look like?
I think it just means that we're pretty blue collar. I mean, we just work really, really hard at what we do. A lot of that is a necessity because we're independent.
we didn't write that about ourselves, by the way. Someone wrote that about us.
Yeah, we're not good enough writers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think everything that we do, there's not a whole lot of glamour about what we do, even from the kind of music that we play. I think a lot of the people that, we've found that there's all different kinds of people that resonate with our music for different reasons, but there is this kind of like blue collar thing about it. That's just how we approach the music. Like we work really hard at what we do because we have to. Part of it is a lot of these instruments we didn't play before the band. And part of it is I think we're all gifted, but none of us are the most gifted at anything. It's not like stuff comes easy. It's just, we really, really love it. So we work really, really hard at it.
And I think the difference is that we're focused around the song. So the instruments kind of play into that instead of the song is surrounded by the sound of the instruments and the sound of the song. We're not as focused on the sound as we are the song itself, if that makes sense.
Which is pretty unique, I think, in the current age, because we definitely live in an age where it's a lot of it is, if not all of it, is about the sound. And not to say that there aren't great songwriters out there, because there are, but it's not the norm. It's not what the popular thing.
Well, that's cool. Well, I had the honor of being invited to your record listening party, and I had the good sense to go, and I really love your record. So, I want to encourage all the listeners out there to go to their webpage, go to Spotify, and we're going to give out all their information towards the end of the show, where you can go listen to their music, see their tour dates. You got some dates coming up, like July the 10th or something in Chicago or somewhere.
Yeah, we're in the Midwest this month. But every month we're out for a couple of weeks, and that you got the record in full, but we're actually releasing it one single at a time on Spotify, and then videos on YouTube and such. But the record in its entirety probably won't be out until early next year. But each month there's a new single coming to listeners.
So That's after you've released each single, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So
that's the way you gotta do it.
That's the way you got to do it.
For now.
So you just ended your tour. What kind of venues did you play?
Well, we have played
a lot of listening rooms, a lot of house concerts,
yeah,
random lofts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did at least one festival. We've done a lot of like smaller. It seems like it's either a festival or it's a pretty small venue where we're able to do our just one mic setup. A lot of what we do aesthetically is around one microphone. And so because we're a new band and a lot of these cities are brand new cities to us, we've decided to go really, really small and intimate and try to go to places where people are there to listen and capture listeners that way, as opposed to going to a club and fighting against the sound floor, which can be pretty noisy in any kind of bar atmosphere. Since we're all acoustic music, we're not going to blow people away volume wise. So yeah, we've done a lot of that, but we're all across the board. I think the campfire sessions and the roadside sessions has painted a lot of what we do. I mean, we can put up a microphone and perform a show pretty much anywhere. And that's what we actually really enjoy doing. So
we started while we were on the road doing the roadside sessions at fans' houses. Actually, they contact us, or we just say, "Hey, we'll be in this area. Who wants us to play a roadside session?" And then whoever contacts us, like closest to them, will actually go to their house and hang out with them, have dinner with them, and do a little roadside session and play a few extra songs for them afterwards.
They have to feed us.
Yeah.
That's smart.
That's in the fine print. Yeah.
We've lucked out so far.
That's like built-in per diem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we went to a guy's house in Texas. And then the other one in Texas we did, it was a trailer park.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah,
really?
They fed us like crazy.
It was incredible. All of our experiences of playing at fans' homes or businesses have been really, really great.
Yeah. Totally.
Those have been some of the more enjoyable shows. I mean, you never know what you're going to get into when you're playing a club. Listening rooms we tend to do really well there. Anywhere where people are there to listen to the music. Like I said, we're not going to overpower people with our sound. With our current setup, at least, with just the trio. So,
okay. Well, I want to back up a little bit and ask Daniel and Emily, how did you guys meet? Because you're a husband and wife. People don't know that. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Kohavi. So, how did you guys meet?
We met in college.
Somebody set us up.
Yeah, somebody did set us
Grace
up.
and Cato.
Grace and Cato.
Good old shout out to
Grace and
Grace and Cato. If you're listening, thank you.
What
very
college
much.
was this?
Cedarville
University in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I was an athlete at the time, and Emily's played music.
And what sport?
I was a basketball player.
He was really good.
Oh,
He won the dunking competition. Like he flies through the air and does all these
That's the kind of thing a non-athlete says.
That's not true. I can.
They say,
really good.
They say he was really good. He won the dunking competition. Emily's been a musician her entire life,
I
obviously.
played soccer, thank you, and swimming, and tennis, and taekwondo.
So yeah, we met in college.
Taekwondo?
I'm just kidding. That was a lie. I just slipped it. I've always wanted to. That's like my next thing that I want to do.
That's my next thing.
That's my next thing.
I'm serious.
After bands.
That was a really long answer to your question. We met in college.
Okay. So, are you both from Ohio?
No. Sorry.
Where are you
Ohio's
from?
great. No, I'm from Pennsylvania, south of Pittsburgh. It's very close to West Virginia, kind of right on the border at the foot of Appalachian Mountains. So it's kind of it's a cute little culture. It's kind of a little melting pot.
So that's where some of your influence comes from in the music?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, I had violin lessons growing up, but I really wasn't. I was bad at reading music. My teacher let me play a lot of fiddle music and bluegrass and that sort of thing. And then, right up the road, there was the Fiddler's Jamboree on Sunday afternoons and all sorts of, like colonial houses that you could go and see in the summer. They'd be like reenacting things. I heard that music very early on because Mom would drag us all out to those and teach us about George Washington and stuff. So
Emily is the most legitimate bluegrasser of the group, and she wouldn't consider herself a legitimate bluegrasser.
I'm not a legitimate bluegrass. No, not by any means. No, I actually figured out what bluegrass really was a couple years ago. I was like, oh, goodness gracious. That's cool.
I know how to do that.
No, not as well as the real ones. I'm a hack.
I know how to pretend to do that.
I can pretend.
So Daniel, how did you start playing music out of basketball?
I started playing music in high school, but not seriously. I was an athlete my whole life, and then in college I played basketball as well. But I would say towards the end of college, my desire to play basketball was dwindling, and maybe my desire for music was starting to grow a little bit. When I met Emily, we started playing a little bit together just for fun. And then we moved down to Nashville so Em could go to school at Belmont to do her graduate degree. And I didn't really have any hopes of doing it professionally at the time, but we started playing a couple nights a week at a little restaurant here in Nashville.
It's called Whitfield's. It's closed
now. It's no longer there.
They had the best salmon ever that
it was
I've
a good
ever
restaurant.
had. Oh my god.
So we started to learn all these standards and all these covers that everyone wanted us to learn, and I just started taking guitar more seriously and music more seriously. And I would say over the course of that couple years that we did that, I started to feel like maybe I could potentially do this. We got a lot of positive feedback from people who were listening to us. So yeah, that was like the beginning of the wild plunge into I'm going to be a musician for a career.
Beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the end for me.
So when did you guys get married?
Almost 7 years ago. We just celebrated 7 years in May.
It was 2011, yeah.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It should go well since Emily wants to be on the road for 364.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Max, you're pretty quiet over there. Tell me about Max Hoffman.
Hi, I'm Max Hoffman.
And you're not.
I don't. What do you want to know? I mean, I don't have that much. I haven't lived that much of an exciting life.
He was born at a young age.
Yeah.
Hey, you come from a pretty exciting family, so you can't get away with that.
Yeah, when you have 8 siblings, I guess things are pretty nutso. But yeah, I was born in Nashville actually, and all my family is from Nashville. But I was raised out west in Nevada and in Los Angeles. And then we moved back to Nashville when I was a teenager, when I was 18. So I've spent, I guess equal parts of my life out west and in Nashville. But I consider Nashville my home. So.
Okay. And everybody in your family plays an instrument, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, my brother, growing up, I played in a band with my brothers, and we went through multiple band names, so don't even ask. Those were really cheesy. But
I have to ask, what was the last band name?
Okay, the actual official when we were becoming adults was Lazar. That's Lazar. Yeah, that's actually Lazar is our old family name. We come from a Jewish descent, and my grandfather changed our last name from Lazar to Hoffman when he moved here to America. So
okay,
yeah. But
Hoffman Lazar. I'm trying to get the connection there. Lazar.
Yeah, there's not. I think Hoffman sounded German, but it still is Jewish. And the way Hoffman, usually there's 2 N's at the end if it's Jewish, and we just have 1 N at the end. So that means German. So 2 N's means German, 2 N's means, or 1 N means Jewish, I believe. That's just what I've heard, So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, what were you doing? Okay, when Lazar disbands or it's no longer a band, what were you doing in between that time and the time you started?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Wildeyes?
Yeah, so we kind of just stopped playing together. There were a lot of complications and some drama that went down with me and my brothers. One of them moved away. So yeah, we stopped playing, and I've loved the idea of writing songs since I was a kid. I've always tried writing songs. So it's kind of, since I was a kid, I've been doing it. So I couldn't really stop doing that, even after our band broke up. I just continued to write music, not professionally or anything. I actually became a butcher at Whole Foods Market. So that's what I did for about 5-6 years. But like I said, I continued to write, and I did a few projects. I did a project with my buddy Lucas called Clairvoyance, and then I was working on my solo album, and my brother Alex was helping me with some art stuff for one of my projects, the Clairvoyance project, and he told Emily and Daniel, they were just becoming friends. Actually, that's how I met Emily and Daniel, is because of my brother Alex. He's like, he did the classic Nashville, like, don't do move, which was, hey, you want to hear my brother's music? And so, of course, they're really nice about it. They're like, yeah, sure.
We rolled our eyes and said, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But I guess they liked it, because after that, they're wanting to write with me and stuff.
We really liked it. I was pleasantly surprised. It was the first time that someone had shown me their brother's music, and my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my cow, like, this is
cool.
This is good. And ever since then, I was like, we've got to do music with Max. And I didn't really know in what capacity we would do music with Max, but it was always in my brain after that we needed.
Just to set the scene for you, Aaron, Max's dog Fender has joined the crew, and I think apparently she has something she wants to say, because she has put her face right next to the three of us.
Big German.
It's Fender like your security guard.
She is.
Basically,
she thinks she is, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but anyways, I didn't think much of what I had recorded, but apparently Emily liked it a lot, so that helped me out.
I am very picky.
And I was very, honest truth is, I was very aimless about music before Emily and Daniel came along. I just did it because I loved it, and I was like, I wanted to do it as a career. I had no idea how, but I just kept on recording and kept on doing things for myself, but it wasn't for any purpose. There's no business behind it at all. But I just love writing. I love music, so it's just a passion of mine. But Emily and Daniel came along, and they basically got me out of Whole Foods and convinced me to start this crazy journey with them. And it's been a blast. We just really love it, writing together and making beautiful music together.
Yeah, we had to make a lot of trips to Whole Foods to visit Max.
Yeah.
We had to purchase a lot of steaks.
Yeah, a lot of steaks. They'd come like at least once a week and bother me, like talk me out of.
We will say, ever since he left Whole Foods, our meat selection has gone way down. We don't get nearly as good at meat these days.
Yeah, neither does our dog Fender.
Yeah, that's probably why she was up here.
Yeah, talking about the meat.
Looking for a bone.
Yeah,
exactly.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
I have Max. Did they train you in butchery at Whole Foods?
Yeah, actually. I just started as a meat clerk, and things are great. It's really fast paced. It's hard work, but I really enjoyed it. And I would learn. There was an old butcher there named Clyde Hudson. Apparently, he was Popcorn Hudson's nephew. I don't know if you know who Popcorn Hudson is, but anyways, that doesn't matter. He was an old dude. He was doing it for years. Him and his brother had a butcher shop in downtown Nashville back in the day. And he actually taught me a lot about cutting. And there were a couple other guys back there that had been just doing it. These guys have just been doing it for 30, 40 years at least, that were just kind of taking me under their wing. And then there was like an apprenticeship program that I did there. And I was kind of slowly climbing up the ladder back there, but I knew I didn't want to do it, for the rest of my life. But I enjoyed learning, and I enjoyed the work, and just learning the art of being a good butcher was kind of cool. So
this guy makes the best burger in Nashville. I will say.
Best burger in town.
Get out the right tools. Though.
Best burger.
All I did was just grind up steaks. So
yeah, I heard an interesting radio interview yesterday where they declared that hamburger was the official food for 4th of July, and they had all these, and the chef was going, "Oh no, you just can't use ground beef. It has to be something else. You know, you got to take other more fatty beef things and grind them up and mix them with a little ground beef to have the best burger."
I can tell the audience like the best combo if you want.
Yes, tell us.
Okay. All right. So if you can grind brisket with some boned out short ribs, and you could throw a little chuck roast in there too, it'd make an amazing tasting burger, like really amazing. Just if you avoid the gristle in any of the cuts and just grind it up, man, it's a great burger.
That sounds like the bomb.
It's like a different burger experience. It should be called something else. Yeah. Because it's not
basically a steak.
It is.
It's like everything you love about a steak, but
it's like juicier than a steak.
Easy to chew. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. Yeah, really good.
So you had what?
Oh, I was just saying I like it, and I really don't eat meat ever. But if Max is making a burger, I'm gonna eat it.
Anyways, I don't do that anymore.
Cool. Well, tell me, you guys just did your first official collection of music. Let's call it a record or a CD.
Sure. Yeah.
And I remember you telling me something about that experience, about how it was recorded.
It was great.
Would you share that with the audience? How the process?
Sure. It was unbelievably simple compared to, I would say, what is common now or standard now. I mean,
what we were even used to.
Yeah, what we were even used to was new to us, but it's one of the oldest ways to record. We played our songs for our producers, and they told us the ones that they loved. And we went into the studio and hired a drummer and a bass player, and we just played the songs in a room and pressed record.
Yeah.
All together and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we did live takes and we tried to capture a performance, and we just felt like that was the best way to capture these songs instead of slaving tirelessly over them to the grid and what we think a lot of times ends up killing the emotional sentiment behind a song.
Right.
We wanted to have a performance, or capture a performance.
I think for me, how I was recording before that was a lot of isolation and a lot of single tracking and building a track. And that's just not how music is. You know, music is performed together as one whole thing. So it was the best experience for me because it was just how it should be. And it felt so natural. It wasn't to a click track or anything. It was just very like musically driven. So
I'm glad we did it the way we did it. It was our producer's idea to do it this way. His name's Ed Spear and Alex Laska. Ed's from England, Alex is from Australia. So it's just fun to hear them talk together and argue. Especially when they argue. It's great when they argue. But it was their idea to do it live like this. And, you know, Ed is completely against any sort of tuning, which I was very nervous about. Because I had always, you know, had a little help here or there for things. And I was like, oh no, it's not going to sound good. But
what does he say about that? It's like, you won't perform as well.
Yes.
If you know do the vocal.
Yes, he did say that. So, I mean, after, and it's true. I don't know how, but I don't know what flicked on in my brain, but I'm such a better singer now than I was before we did that. I don't know if something happened in my brain, but yeah, I'm glad we do. I think we'll always do it that way. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there's Fender. I think it's changed the way we listen to music as well, because our experience in the industry has been under the current standard of, you know, track the drums and then track the guitar and then track the vocal.
It's just how it's done.
And it's so much of how we hear music, and you listen to these old records that in a lot of ways have a lot more limitations sonically to what they can do, because they're not perfect and they have more limitations because of what was available to them at the time, but still they're the best records you listen to. And it's because there's the spirit of a performance in it. And it's kind of crazy that that was a new idea to us, but it really was. We started hearing these, we would record it and then we'd hear it back and it's like, it's done. I mean, like the track is done. The track that you actually just played, Empty Love, that one we had never, that was the first thing we recorded. Yeah. And that was actually a newer song that we had written. They told us we needed a few more songs and they were like, you need to write more songs. We're like, okay. And that was one that we had just freshly written. So we had never even kind of worked through it to know how to perform it. So we were in the studio kind of just getting it together for the first time. And then we heard one of their voices come over the speaker and say, all right, done. We've got it. Yeah, like, no. What you're listening to is our first performance of the song ever, which is pretty wild. Yeah. But
really?
It's the first time we had ever performed it with piano and both guitars, and it's very fresh. It was it's literally as raw as it could have been. So. And I didn't believe him when he said that. I was like, no, you let me take one more take. He's like, nope, Emily, get in here. And then we went and listened. We're like, we don't need to do anything else. So.
Boy, that's a beautiful song. Emily, your vocals are pretty amazing, and you guys sing some great harmonies. I mean, your voices match up so well with your instruments. You know, it's like all in the same pocket. You know, same sonic environment, I guess you could say.
Shed a lot of blood and tears for that.
Yes,
That didn't just happen, actually.
A lot of fighting, a lot of fist fighting, and
I'm a crazy person. It has to be amazing. Otherwise,
Emily basically has perfect pitch. So anyone that's less than that, it's a hard thing to overcome.
Yeah. Well, hey, do I have you guys permission to play that song at the close of the show?
Yeah, of course. It'd be awesome.
Okay. Maybe Cedric, if you could cue that up, and we'll close the show out with that. Not now. I'm just thinking ahead.
Perfect.
I got more questions.
Oh, good.
Cool.
So Daniel, you say you were an athlete all your life.
That's right.
Were you one of those kids that was like on all these teams? Did you play soccer too?
I played everything when I was very young, but by the time I was definitely by high school, I was 100% basketball. I knew that's how I was going to pay for college. I wanted to play professional. I was all year long. I played basketball. So.
Wow. Did you get a scholarship to college?
I did. Yeah, I paid for my college.
So you played all 4 years?
I did. Yeah, I played my whole life through college, and after my senior year of college, I was done. I was ready to be done.
What is it? Is it the regimen, the training, and practice and all that stuff?
It's funny, since I've been playing music, and Emily plays violin and with other string players, and I hear their stories of their classical background, you know, being trained up when they were young and then going off to Juilliard, or what are some of the other big ones, Curtis, and they talk about their classical training the same way I talk about basketball. It's just this over regimented, kind of zaps the fun out of you. Just forget why in the world you started doing the thing in the first place. I don't think it's uncommon. I think anyone who tries to do their thing at a really, really high level and goes through programs that, you know, require top performance out of you have a very similar experience. I just thought it was really funny to hear people talking about their shoulder injuries from their because their classical violin teacher was overworking them, and I was just like, it's the same thing. I got like a blown out knee and ankle because we're practicing nonstop and lifting and all that. But yeah,
did you ever read that book, Talent is Overrated?
I did not, which I need to, because I love the idea of it. I read, when you sent it to me, I read all about it. I just didn't actually read the book. Mm-hmm. But I need to. It seems like a very interesting book.
Yeah, it was all about putting in the hours, that people, the characters that he used in the book are Mozart and Tiger Woods, and how they were teachable kids who looked up to their dads, and their dads like put all of this attention and energy into their kids.
Well, yeah, they realized their dream through their kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think I believe in that so much, especially now, because I didn't start playing music, and I was terrified when I first started thinking about doing music, because I had put so many hours into basketball, and I knew that people had done the same thing with music, and I was like, man, it's too late for me to do that. But I completely believe it's just, there is such a thing as talent, but I think it's such a small piece of the pie. I think the people who really succeed are the people who work the hardest and who have a lot of like practical personal skills. Those tend to go a long way too.
Yeah. I think you I think you did bring the discipline that you developed playing basketball and all that sort of stuff. You just brought it over to your music.
100%. Yeah. I approached guitar just like I had basketball for all those years, for sure.
Yeah. So, that goes back to that premise of putting in the time, having the discipline to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Without that, you got nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, each of you, on your new record, Emily, what's your favorite song?
Oh my goodness. Goodness. Can you come back to me?
Okay. Max, what's your favorite song?
Can you come back to me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think my favorite experience was Empty Love because of how it happened so organically. We were just really into the moment, and they captured it, and that was the song. So I would say that was like my favorite moment that performance wise. Probably the very last track, I Won't Go. It turned out so beautifully. We did the same thing. We were all behind one mic playing the song, and then we had a beautiful string part that was at the end of the song. It just was a very magical moment. Both of those are like the slower songs, but cool. I don't know. I think between those two probably were my favorite moments on the record.
Okay. All right, Daniel.
Yeah, I think I have two. I think the first one is one of the songs that Max picked, I Won't Go, which closes out the record and won't be released for a little while. And I think it's because, one, it was a similar recording experience as Empty Love. It was one take. It was all three of us around two microphones or something. But yeah, we were in the control room when the strings played the part, and they just close out the song. They actually don't come in until the very last instrumental. And I hadn't heard the string part until then. Emily wrote the string part. And when I heard the string part, it was just perfect. I mean, we had unbelievable players, and the part was perfect. And it just, like, that song, that experience of that song in the control room as they were tracking it live, the strings live, will always stand out to me. So I think that's one for me. And then the other one that I love is a song that we're releasing in a couple weeks, actually. And it's called Tennessee is Alive. And it's an interesting song because it's probably the song that changed the most from how we perform it as a trio to how it's performed with the band. And I don't know if everyone loved that initially. It almost has a different sentiment when it's performed with the three of us. But there's something very classic about it. When we recorded it with the band, we didn't try to do anything crazy with it. We just tried to let the song speak for itself. And there's just this classic thing with the feel of it, that right when it kicks on, it kind of puts you in a place. For me, it puts me on like a back road, north of town, just driving down and the sun setting. And so it's it's so visual of the city, that I think that ended up being a really special recording for me and accomplishing the positive side of the song. There's a positive and a negative side to the song. And I think the recording of it really like highlights the positive side of it. So that would be my other one.
Okay, Emily, we're back.
All right, I have two. You said favorite song. I have a favorite song like while we were recording, and then I have a favorite song like listening back months later. Like the guys, I also really love I Won't Go. And
is this the while we were recording song?
Yeah, this is while we were recording. I was in there conducting the strings, which I don't like to do that because that just makes me nervous. You have to stand up there in front of 20 people and like tell them when to play, and that's just very nerve-wracking.
It's easier to tell two people than when to play, right?
It's so much easier to boss around two people than 20 people.
Well, too easy.
But yeah, I mean, when I cued them in, I really didn't do anything other than give them the cue to start playing, and I promise you that I floated. And I know that sounds very, very odd, but it was just perfect. Their tone. Sometimes when you go, you're a string player on a session, and sometimes you start playing, and then the talk back, they tell you like, oh no, let's go way softer or way this, or you just like you miss the mark. You don't play how they wanted you to play or whatnot. But it's like everybody in the room was on the same wavelength, and
yeah,
it was cool. I don't know. You could just feel like this.
I think all the players had the same experience of it too.
I did too. It was just perfect.
That's great.
And that's always been just one of my favorite songs in general. We don't always get to do it at shows because it's a very, very quiet song. Sometimes if people want an encore and we're kind of reading the energy of the room, sometimes we opt for something a little more upbeat to kind of, people what they want. But I love ending shows with this song. I don't know. It's just, I love it.
Cool.
The other song
you got another?
Well, I have a song that is my favorite now, listening months back, kind of removed from it. This song, it's the next to the last song on the record called Dying Slow. And while we were recording it, I was hating it because, I don't know, it was one of the last songs we did. I was very tired. My voice was tired, and I didn't like how I sounded on it. There's a really high, long note that I'm holding for a long time at the end that I could not get it. He kept punching me in, and I tried to get it over and over and over again, and I couldn't get it. And I was very unhappy with it, but, Eddie was like, no, we got it the first time. I'm like, oh, I don't believe you, Eddie. And listening back months later, he went with the first take, and I'm like, I like it. So cool. I don't know. I'm just happy. That's like, right. It's just surprising what how your brain like messes with you during that process, how your brain is like your least friend. Your brain tells you, like, this is bad. And there's that like, you're bad, and then just to appreciate it months later and know that it was fine. It was just fine how it was. That's all.
That's cool. Well, we're coming to the end of the show here, and I want to assure you that we're going to post all of your social media links and the Spotify, iTunes, and all that sort of stuff. And
cool, thank you.
But I really want to play the song so everybody can hear it here. So with that, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Be safe in your travels, and
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Aaron.
I just love your stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
I'm empty, love, like a house after a fire. Like an old man serving food 'cause he can't retire. I'm empty, love, like that old man's faded mind, as he told me that same old story one more time, but I really didn't mind.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. Pitbullaudio.com.